Welcome to Go for Lunch. Glad to see Bob and Kurt and Judy here so far. I imagine we're going to have some other people joining us here shortly. So today we're going to talk about back to nature the iPhone way. So this is Go for Lunch number 73. If you are new here, please type new in the comments so we can get to know you and welcome you to our merry little band here. My name is Roger Harmon with GoFor Technology, where we make your technology work for you. Today is National Good Neighbor Day. Did you know that 57% of all Americans confess to only knowing some of their neighbors and 26% know most of their neighbors? So what category do you fall in there? So if you've been waiting for a reason to meet your neighbors, today is the day. You can go over and say, "Hi, it's National Good Neighbor Day. I'd like to introduce myself and make our neighborhood better." So we are going to talk about apps that enhance the outdoors. So my idea here is it's cooling off. This morning at my house it was 66 degrees around 7 o'clock, usually the coldest time of the day before the sun comes up. And the high temperatures this week are all in below in the 80s, high to medium 80s. So it looks like autumn is taking hold. So a good reason to get out there into the great outdoors and enjoy this weather, because we're going to have what, 5-6 months of wonderful weather most of the time here. So the reason that we're doing this today is because of MacStock 2021. What is MacStock, you may want to know? Well, MacStock in its 5th year is a gathering of Mac enthusiasts in Woodstock, Illinois. And Bob and Kurt and I go when the going is good, which it hasn't been for the last 2 years because of you know why. So this year they did what we call a hybrid. Hybrid meaning there were a few people there live, but most everybody participated in MacStock virtually on YouTube. So it was a day of presentations, and one of the presentations was by Rick Cartwright. So Rick opened my eyes to something that I had been a little aware of, but not as aware as I am after his presentation. So Rick has a website called tales.photos, and he is a photographer. And when you go down here to, I guess we're already there, so you notice here, if you can read this, is he was creating a video for his presentation at MacStock, and he's out there demonstrating some of the apps that we're going to look at right here. So that's the origin story of why we are here today. So let's look at one app here that would help you identify a bird. So I don't know if you can hear the birds chirping in the background here. I have a YouTube video running over here on my other monitor. Voila. And if that gets too annoying, just let me know and I'll turn it off. So there's an app that Rick made me aware of called Picture Bird. But not only does it picture the birds, but it also lets you identify birds by their call. So let's look at Picture Bird. So here we are on our iPhone, And we have a little folder set up just for today. And you can see here the green bird icon. No, I'm sorry, the picture bird is the second one. So we're going to tap on that. And I'm kind of into the, we're not going to do that now. So we want to go to home. Okay. So this is the app called Picture Bird. So the sound is a new feature to this app, identifying them by sound. And apparently, according to what Rick told us in his presentation, you can actually separate the sounds of several birds. And apparently it comes up with all of them. I don't think it could do more than 2 or 3, but it's pretty amazing how this app can do the identification by sound as well as by taking a picture of the bird, or if you're out of cellular coverage, you could take a picture and then process it later. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to click here on Identify in the top center, a little camera icon that says Identify. And then we are going to identify the amazing work-light bird. No. We're going to click on Photos in the lower left corner. And we're going to pull up a photo that we got off of a stock photo site. So there's our photo that we grabbed of a bird. Now you can pinch to zoom. You can move it right and left, but you cannot move it up and down in this app. So we're going to so we get a little bit of the plumage here. So there's our bird that we captured on our camera, we'll pretend. Then we click on the check mark here in the bottom center. You see the check mark in the circle? Click on that, and now it's searching. So the Picture Bird app has identified this bird as a red-necked grebe. So when we look at our picture of our bird here, what's the big difference between our bird and the one that the app found? Hi, Barbara and Chris. So I happen to be familiar with grebes because when I'm in Mexico in the wintertime, there are grebes in the Sea of Cortez. And they're kind of neat. They're in a flock, and they all dive down underwater to get fish at the same time. So you'll see them, and all of a sudden they're gone. So they look something like this, but usually there's a lot more of them than you see here. And then they all disappear in synchronization. It's really funny to watch. So there's the grebe, but obviously the difference here is that our grebe has a crested head. So you see the crest there, and this grebe does not have a crest. Now we were fortunate in this case, when we go down to the description here in the app, it says here that the red-necked grebe is a medium-large grebe, smaller than the great crested grebe of Eurasia and the western and Clark's grebes of North America. So apparently the picture that I chose of the crested grebe, I got it off of one of my stock photo sites, so it was copyright. I had the copyright to use it, and it's not from around here, it's from Eurasia, so that's why we got the little disparity there. So that's how that particular one works. And as you can see here, there's lots of information on the bird. The size is 1.4 to 1.6 feet. Wingspan is 2.5 feet. Comes in 3 colors. And here's where it breeds, usually in lakes. Obviously, the crested breed, the grebes I know about, were in the ocean. So that's the way that app works. So let's look at another one, shall we? So here's one called Merlin Bird ID by Cornell Labs, which I'm assuming is Cornell University. So we're going to go back to our iPhone, and you see here the third one is Merlin Bird ID. So we click on that, and you can see here that you have 4 choices. You can start the bird ID, you can use a photo ID, you can use sound, or you can explore birds. So to kind of compare this to the picture bird, we're going to use photo ID, tapping on that. And again, we have a choice here of using the camera icon to take a photo live out there in the wilderness, or we can choose a photo that we already have on our camera roll. So we're going to choose this same photo. There he is. Now on this one we can move him around a little bit more, and we can pinch to zoom. So let's put him up here so the crest is in there, but some of his plumage is in there. And now we're going to click on next on the bottom. And we don't know where he came from, but we found him today. So we're going to click on identify at the bottom in the green. And there you go. The bird is not currently installed in the database, or what they call their bird packs. I don't know if we can't make that any bigger, but if you'll see there, you may not be able to read that on your screen, but it says this bird is not currently installed but may be available in one of our bird packs. But it did correctly identify the bird as a great crested grebe, and then the second choice was a red-throated loon. I think because of all the red in the grebe's plumage there, that's why it wanted to go to the red. And then from there it kind of goes downhill. The third choice was a trumpeter swan. Obviously that is not a very good choice. Okay, so what we want to do here is show you the, let's see, where did I go? Okay, so let's go back to home by clicking on the home button in the upper right. And now we can put in where we are. Current location, of course, would be by GPS. And we've already did this, so it says we're in Tucson. And then we just click on the map here. It can zoom in to Tucson. We click on next. We saw the bird today. What size was the bird? So let's say he was a medium size. So between a robin and a crow in size. Let's say he was gray. And so we're not using a photo, we're just describing the bird this time around. And so we saw him on the ground. Next. And the possibilities here are a rock pigeon, a curve-billed thrasher, a mourning dove, or a Gambel's quail. But what I had in mind was a roadrunner. So this is my bird. So now we can create an account, which I haven't done. We can sign in, and there is a premium version of this. This is the free version. So we can get more details, obviously, when we pay for the app. So that is the way that works. So pretty amazing using the technology built into your iPhone, using machine learning, using artificial intelligence, and so it does all that stuff. Another one is iBird Lite, obviously meaning that there's an iBird Heavy, which means it costs money. Anybody that's ever looked into birds is probably seen the books by Peterson's, Birds of the Northwest, now an app as well, and of course the Audubon Birds Field Guide. Of course, when you think of birds, you probably think of Audubon. So what about plants when you're out there? Maybe you're trying to figure out, is this poison ivy or what is this? So there's one called Plant Snap. I believe our producer, Deanne, I can't say her other name because there's a echo right behind me that will start talking to me. There's iNaturalist, which also does fauna besides birds, and flora. There's Seek, which is also from iNaturalist, and there's Arizona Wildflowers. So Deanne said she had one called Oregon Wildflowers, so I searched the App Store, and sure enough, I found Arizona Wildflowers. So let's check that out. Oops, sorry about that. So here we are back on our app. You see up here the top left is Arizona Wildflowers. So this, let me go back here, so I have to reset. Okay, so this doesn't work from a photograph. You just have to kind of describe it. So the time and place is Arizona. We have 3,441 possibilities. So we're going to say this is a wildflower. So we're going to click on the yellow wildflower there, the first choice under plant type. We're going to choose yellow. In the next category, we're going to say that it has many petals. And we're going to say that the flower size is 4 inches or greater. And we're going to say that the leaf arrangement is the fourth choice there. So now we have nothing to show. There at the top you see under Arizona Wildflowers, nothing to show. So let's choose a different type of leaf arrangement. And now we have 8. So we go up to the green at the top and click on Show 8 Plants. And look at all the possibilities we have. So here are, oh, look at this. I love this one. Orange sneezeweed, also known as owl's claws. Not to be confused with Arizona mule ears. So you can see here are the different possibilities from what we described. So that's kind of a neat way of doing it. And so that's another way of doing it. So I see that Gretchen is here, and Kurt, who suggested Seek, can identify trees, birds, plants, mushrooms, fish, spiders, insects, and even mammals. So if there's a bear running towards you, do not take your app out and try to figure out whether it's a black bear or a brown bear. Just get out of there, I guess. You should know those things before you go into the forest, how to react to different kinds of bears, I guess. So, good. Thank you, Kurt. So, there's lots of different things here for you to use to make your outdoor adventure more interesting. But then the sun goes down. What are you going to do now? Well, you're going to look up into the sky and use astronomy apps like SkyLive. NASA has an app. Night Sky is another one. And Star Walk 2 is a great app. So let's look at an example of an astronomy app as we go back here. And as always, when we search on our iPhone, we put our finger in the center of the screen not on an app, but on the wallpaper, we swipe down, we get a search box, and you can see I've already searched for night sky X here, which is we'll use as an example. So I want to go back to the previous screen here. So let me just start over here and see if it'll start up. So I'm going to dismiss it, go back to search, put in night sky, and see if it'll start at the beginning here. Okay, now we're cooking. Okay, would you like to follow it on Twitter? No thanks. So night sky is using location services, so it can detect the sky above you. So it needs to know where you are, so we can show you the sky that is above you. So here we have the display. So right now my iPhone is looking out at the horizon, and you can see there that round planet is Venus. You may not be able to see that. So as I tilt my phone up towards the sky, you can see some constellations are coming up, and if I tilt it over towards the west, there's that big white thing, which happens to be the sun. So you can see, even though it's daylight, this works. Obviously we can't see any stars. Interesting thing here, as I go back towards the horizon, let's see if we can get one to show up here. We see Starlink. Now right there, just in the black on the horizon, let me tilt it again here to get it to show up again. You see in very small letters it says Starlink 2087. So Starlink is Elon Musk's constellation of low Earth orbit, LEO, for those of you into acronyms, that are going to be, and they're already providing internet for people. So we can see all the Starlink satellites. And of course we can't see much because it is daytime. So I'm trying to get here into, oh my goodness, what was that? I'm not sure what that was. So I'm trying to get into the features here, and I'm just moving my finger here. So there's the sun. So I don't have to move the phone. I can just move the view with my finger on the screen. So so they'd like to access our camera. So it does a lot of different things. And they have a premium view. I'm using the free version, which is $30 a year or $5 a month. So they have some features like you can use sky tags. So if there's a celestial body that you're particularly interested in, you can tag it, and when you pay for it you get unlimited tags, but you can still tag things on the free version. So it's really interesting app, and there's a lot of great astronomy apps. This is just one of them, just to kind of give you an idea of how these things work. Now, so we're camping out, we've had great fun here in the night, and now the sun is coming back up and there's clouds in the sky. So Deanne mentioned that she likes an app called Cloud a Day to identify different clouds. So you might want to check that out and learn about, cirrus and all these different kinds of clouds. Of course, when you're out there in the great outdoors, you're probably wanting to do a hike. That's many of us go out to do hikes. So a good app to look at before you leave is All Trails. It's both a web app, a website and an iOS app. The National Park Service also has a guide to trails when you're inside of a national park, and those things will help you find the appropriate trail for your fitness level, and also always, want to tell somebody where you're going, and that way you'll be able to describe the trail that you're using. So again, cellular coverage is something you need to keep in mind, because some of these apps need the cellular coverage so they can phone back to the servers to get that detailed information, analyzing a photograph. So make sure you understand how the app works, and so you won't be disappointed when you get out there and it won't work because you don't have cellular coverage. Once you get back home, check your settings for the app to make sure it's not using your data on your phone and costing you money when you don't need it. So that was some things that Deanne, our producer, mentioned, which are very, very important. So, any questions, comments? I'd like to remind you to share the GoFor Gazette, which comes out every Monday, announcing our Tuesday GoFor lunch with your friends. On social media is a good way to share. You can give them the links that are in the GoFor Gazette of our YouTube channel, or the actual link for the upcoming YouTube Live. Speaking of social media, Roger's even planning ahead, a week in advance, something new and different. Next week we're going to talk about enhancing your Facebook security. So it's not easy to find out how to make things as locked down on Facebook as you would like. So next week we're going to walk you through the techniques and the places to go to make sure you're getting the level of privacy on Facebook that you desire. So any questions, any outdoor apps that you like, that you use, that you'd like to share with everybody here? So while we're waiting for that, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't already, you need to be signed in with your Gmail, which is also your Google credentials to sign in and subscribe. We'd appreciate that. And then you can ring the little bell next to subscribe, which is right down here. And that will notify you when we go live. So, well, I'm glad that you came today and joined us. If you think of any questions after we end our little get-together, you can call me or email me, and that information is on the next screen. So have a great rest of your day.